We are still on a delay. Obviously, our first series went, I think, way longer than anyone was expecting to start the day off. And it means we are a little bit behind schedule on this one. We've got the set as the first pick for top esports over on the Reds. No, the RA are on the red side on this one. So set. Yep. And it looks like moving away from the Cogmore strategy, right? Deciding that's not the way forward anymore.
Yeah, I think it worked in that game one, specifically against the Senna Karma, really effective. But here, a bit more range in the bot lane with that Karma Ezreal, which I'm assuming they're going to the bot lane, and they could, in theory, flex everything and put like set support, but I doubt that's going to happen. Karma Ezreal, seeing quite a bit of it, and into the Jinx Thresh, you outrange it quite a bit in terms of that poke damage. But there obviously is that threat of the Thresh, maybe finding a gauge, maybe setting up the team. I am happy to see Knight back on that Silas. Such a good game one from him. Although one of the concerns up against the Rise is there will come a point where you're just going to lose in priority against this champion. And Fofo, he was really proactive at moving around the map to the side lanes in that game too. On a Rise, that's textbook Rise play with the ultimate.
Certainly is, but we have seen a lot of terrible Rise ultimates in this split of the LPL. We've seen a lot of Realm Warps into pure death, where the Realm Warp comes through, it lands on a bunch of enemies, and everyone immediately is slaughtered. So fingers crossed for Fofo. That's not going to be the kind of Rise we see today, but Knight back on the Silas. And I want to bring up a topic of conversation here, because I don't think we're going to see too much action at level 1. In that the advantage that we get, obviously, in LPL, having best of 3 feels so good to see teams like Top Esports getting caught by a hook on the bottom side. Just going to trade it. Having the advantage of being able to say, hey, look, we won game 1. We destroyed it with Knight on a carry in the mid lane. Let's try Knight on a support. Let's try JackeyLove being a hyper carry. Let's see if we can pull that off on the stage. Doesn't work out game 2. Okay. Back to the original strategy. Let's have JackeyLove safe on the bottom side scaling up. Let's have Knight as our primary carry again.
I think it gives so much more flexibility. I think not just in terms of playstyles, but also in terms of just being able to attempt new things, try new strategies, because you have a bit of a fallback. Losing one game in a best of 3, very different to obviously losing one game in a best of 1, which is unsurprisingly the whole best of 1. So I think it does give that windows and it allows the teams to more so develop and try different things. And as you said, it's clear that game 1, they had this strategy that worked really well. And then you also get this adaptation from Rare Adam. They came in and went, okay, we didn't work into this. Why? We need to have, you know, the range advantage or potentially a more threatening bot lane in the 2v2.
What a great ward coming out from Top Esports. They're fully aware that Lien is here. JackeyLove even drops a thumbs up. He's like, I know you're there, buddy. Like, literally tells Lien to stop wasting his time. And that is the most JackeyLove thing I think I've ever seen. Giving away information to the enemy. And the reason he's probably doing that is so that he can push up and keep farming and not be zoned away by the idea of Lien being there. So incredibly JackeyLove moment here in game number 3.
May end up seeing a bit of a rough spot for Cube here. The wave pushing in, he doesn't really have much he can do here. He's kind of forced to walk up to contest this one.
He knows something's up, though. It's going to be pulled in. This is inevitably going to be the play. Cube dashes
so
on
well played.
out. Too suspicious. Very nicely done by Cube. Reads the play, does not fall for it.
And, I mean, Xingqiang was just bad acting, ultimately. You could see from the way he was trading as well. Xingqiang was completely inting the 1v1, and there's no way he would do that unless he was trying to set up for the gank. And so, as a result, he's forced to back off and then TP back in to cast out wave. Whereas honestly, I think Cube could realistically just walk back to lane after resetting and keep his TP potentially for use on the map. So a lot of value coming from a play where it was Carter who was showing up there.
Oh, 2v2 in the bot side. Duo low, but gets a shield at the last second. And JackeyLove is just melee Ezreal right here. iBoy out trading him, though, on this Jinx with the Get Excited. Or not with the Get Excited, with the Pow Pow and the Fish Bones. Looks like, all things considered, they'll disengage. It's going to be even. Pots ticking on both sides, so health bars should regenerate here.
And honestly, even Summoner's Burn across the board. Flashes down for both supports. So Carter has a window, but that ward is going to spot things out. iBoy can clear the wave, and there's a lantern if he needs it to get to safety. essentially, you know, that's the window you want to try and find, is getting the engagement on the Karma. But in those close-up situations, Karma can obviously put out a lot of damage. You've seen the replay, so I think it might be a Mantra W coming out, which is actually really powerful for sort of sustaining as you get that self-heal. And then it allows the Ezreal, you fully stack the Conqueror, you stack your passive as well, and you're able to trade pretty well in those close range situations, despite the fact, obviously, Jinx has, as you said, the Pow Pow.
So Qingtian will be able to clear this and push the wave in. So I want to talk about junglers here. I want to talk about pacing, because it feels like Karsa has looked for a couple of opportunities. He's looked to make things happen in the lanes, but each and every time it has been thwarted so far by RA. It feels like RA are quite happy to slow the pace down as much as possible. With the Drake coming on the map, do you think this is something Top Esports can even look towards? Doesn't look like it, as Karsa moving up towards the top side. So what's the game plan for Top Esports moving forward? How did they find themselves some advantages?
I think, honestly, leaning towards your solo lane is probably a good window to do so. The problem with playing around bot is just Karma doesn't offer as much pressure as the Thresh. Thresh can obviously use those hooks to engage, but also the Lantern to get out of tricky situations. And I think, realistically, Ezreal's laning phase being a bit subpar means you want to lean later. So I think top lane has good setup. We saw Karsa trying to make pressure there. If Ryze overextends, he's a viable target. Realistically, though, I think you're waiting more towards the mid game, where you're going to have your big spikes to be able to take big, heavy team fights. But for now, looks like Rare Atom looking to lean on that bot lane pressure. Remember, they have TP on their top lane as well, so if this does break out into people TPing in, Rare Atom will always have the advantage, and they are actually burning one there from Cube to come in here.
They're going to try and get their way in. Jackie Love dodges away from the root, though. iBoy takes a turret shot for this one. The Flame Choppers will go down. Jackie Love is alone for now. Draw moves in, as does Karsa. Cube nervous on this one. Dominus available. TP now being channeled from both sides. Jackie Love underneath the tower. Cube's gone a little bit deep for this one. One more tower shot, but it's not going to target onto him. And it's 2 kills that go the way of RA. And Knight is a little bit late to the party.
Beautiful execution there. And again, Qingtian's not able to join. He just gets some pressure on the top side, but you lose both members of the bot lane in that situation. RA taking as much as they can, but not overstepping. And it was really well played. You could see it was a bit of a split decision from Top Esports, whether they wanted to move away from the turret or stay under it. And it ended up just getting easily obliterated, those two bot laners, who obviously aren't nearly as tanky as the likes of the Volibear or the Silas in terms of staying alive in those skirmishes.
Tough one here for Top Esports, and what we saw last time around when RA got ahead, they never fell behind for the rest of the game. And RA right now, 3-1 on the standings. Top Esports have played less series than they have, so they are 1-1 on the standings. Top Esports needing these wins, but if RA can win this one out, they will continue to climb their position in the standings. They will push themselves to tied, or in fact to third place, I believe, as they'll be behind Edward Gaming, who haven't got a loss just yet. But it would be their 4th win. They would be right up towards the top of the standings. And what a way to do it as well, by taking down Top Esports. That would be certainly a huge moment for RA across the course of this split when it comes to match difference, when it comes to tiebreakers. If we do get to that point towards the end of the split, it's something that RA are going to need. Herald going to be started here. Qingtian moving in. He's just looking straight for Lien. True Shot Barrage comes across Lien, forced to flash out of the pit, goes back in, gets the spike for himself. Very clean, but the Showstopper should finish him off. Fofo managed to get the Herald, though, so it's a kill for a Herald. And now Dro looking for the root. Fofo going to be caught up in this one. Should be taken down, and Knight grabs himself the kill. Now Realm Warp as well, as they look for a little bit more. Cube can't escape, and Top Esports, they flip everything onto its head. Knight jumps onto the blast cone, but Cube gets out safely.
A little bit over-aggressive in the end, ends up being on the flash for nothing, but they find the favorable play. Unfortunately, though, despite getting those 2 kills, they end up losing out on the Herald, and that's with committing their bot lane, whereas Rare Atom, a little bit greedy going for that without their bot lane, but it means they're so heavily favored overall, because yes, they lose 2 members, but they're getting those plate spot onto the Jinx specifically, and on top of that, with the Herald, they should easily be able to secure first tower. And the big thing is, if iBoy gets fed in this Jinx, things are looking very good for Rare Atom.
That's when it becomes real difficult. So, I mean, Lien plays this so nice.
Yeah, this could have been drastically different, and Lien made the complete right call, suiciding for the Herald. Unfortunately, Fofo ends up being the one to pick it up. And in this situation, no flash. The Rise is such a vulnerable target and gets taken down. In an ideal world, Lien was hopefully be able to grab it himself. But either way, you've got the Herald. You're getting this pressure bot lane. And actually, you don't even need the Herald bot. And you're funneling all this plate gold onto iBoy and Fofo. And honestly, there isn't huge amount of pressure to take this tower right now. It's not like this is a cross-map situation where top esports are threatening something on the other side. Yes, Xingqian is going to be getting some damage on that tower, but there's still plenty of plates, and Fofo will move mid to cover. So, Rare Atom, following on for that second game, are having a great early start.
They're absolutely demolishing top esports in the early game when it comes to these map trades. They're almost 2,000 gold ahead for themselves with that Herald still in pocket. And when you look across the board at where that 1,500 gold lead is right now, it is almost exclusively in the bottom lane. Look at the goal difference between iBoy and Jackie Love. It's 1,500 in iBoy's favor. He's got the Kraken Slayer, he's got his boots. And while Ezreal's items are slightly cheaper, Jinx's items pack much more of a punch. The 3-item spike, the 2-item spike even on Jinx is absolutely terrifying. Lien moving down as Drake is onto the map here, Orcs. And it feels like RA are a shoe-in to grab.
Yeah, which is honestly, Cube doesn't have teleport and is staying top lane, and they don't even seem mildly concerned. I think they know top esports don't want to contest in this situation. Ezreal is just far too weak. No Divine Sundra finished, and ideally you want at least that before you're opting into these full dragon fights, so they will just give it up. I mean, Aegon, as you're saying about the cheapness of Ezreal's items, it's great because you're able to finish those spikes sooner than your opponents. You hit the great 2-item spike. But if you're behind the curve compared to something like a Jinx, then you're going to be missing out on that. If you are 2 items to 2 items, or even 2 items to 3 items, you're just not going to be hitting that power spike that you're so reliant on to get an advantage. Now, we do see top looking to take down that top tower, but they are losing a lot of plates mid in return. And this is iBoy again getting the gold.
I know. iBoy is just getting so fed. Xingqian will finish this top lane tower. At least he gets a massive cash injection himself. That's onto a set. And it's in trade for a tier 1 taken down in the mid lane. All of that plate gold being shared across the entire team, but still massive value here for RA. That is, what, 10 plates taken by them across the course of this game now, whereas it's just the 6 for the side of top esports. So massive gold lead for them, 2,000 as we broach the 12-minute mark in this game. And that next Herald will probably be the next objective that both of these teams are looking at. And last time around, top esports kind of misplayed the Herald a little bit, end up losing that one out. Perhaps that's an opportunity for them, but it feels like maybe top esports just have to wait and try and scale up in this one. But I don't know, against the Jinx and against the Rise, do you even win the scaling game?
I think, honestly, I think it's really rough because I think in the scaling, if you're not able to threaten the backline, you just lose out. Now, there's still windows where top esports can get on top of the Jinx and Rise, that they can win a team fight even later in the game, but it's a big if, and it's generally harder to execute on that. So I wouldn't want to just lean into the late game. I will say, though, you can lean into your item spikes. Ezreal's 2 items, even if you're behind, is a big spike. So although you're not in the ideal situation you want to be for an Ezreal, you can definitely play around that extra bit of strength you're getting and try and contest there. Because realistically right now, I don't think you're in a great position to contest. I think when they moved up to the previous Herald, it was completely fine, but they ended up losing so much. And this is why some teams have moved away from swapping their bot lane up to the top side, because you lose so much tempo on the back of it. And a lot of teams will just leave their AD carry bot lane and then allow them just to take the tower. And you know, in most situations, you just try and back off and you stall the enemy team out around the Herald. In this situation, Rare Atom got the Herald, and I know they traded kills for it, but when you consider they got the mid lane tower for that Herald, absolutely worth it.
Yeah, it's actually insane, the value that you can get out of the Herald as well, especially when they're able to use it in the mid lane, being able to finish that mid lane tier 1 so early on into the game. And now look at the play that they're setting up towards the top side of the map. Karsa moving in, clearing some vision, but realistically, it's going to be difficult to contest. Jackie Love moving over as well as Lien. Really wants this blue buff. I don't know if this is worth hard committing for here, as Karsa will smite that one away. Not the end of the world to miss out on the blue buff in terms of Knight and Jackie Love, the carries, getting that one. It's better to just secure it for the team with the smite there from Karsa, as Knight is down in that bottom side anyway. Interesting to see Knight and Cube being the two actually off in the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Knight's pretty comfortable just because he has so much sustain. He's not threatened. There just isn't enough damage on Cube to really take him out in these 1v1s. And essentially, it frees up Xingqian to be here and to join on these skirmishes and potentially being engaged there, but they're a bit too late.
Ooh, stun during the Lantern there. Lien gonna get pulled away. Death sentence, but the Realm Warp is too clean. They pull him in. They get him out of there. It's too nice from RA. They get themselves a Herald. Top Esports once again late to the party, trying to find some picks off the back of it, but it's just not gonna happen. And another objective taken from RA, who, to be honest, they just own the entire map. Everything this game has gone the way of RA. It feels like Top Esports have just not shown up after... I don't understand what happened between game number 1 and now. Like, where did all the pizzazz go?
I mean, I feel like one of the things is that Caster played a really sacrificial game 1, where he didn't farm nearly as much, fell behind, and did a lot to sort of cement his team an advantage, and it worked really well. But it feels like since then, Rare Atom have just been sort of more proactive in the early game. They haven't given Caster the win to do so, and more importantly, they kind of haven't fallen for the scenarios he sets up. Like we saw that gank in the top lane where Cube was very aware of what was going on, and even though we had that nerf to the jungle camp timers so it's not as severe, if you aren't farming efficiently and you're wasting time trying to make these ganks and they're unsuccessful, you are going to fall behind. And we've seen that come out here, and Luen's just been able to make more of an impact.
Not in this fight, he's not. Lien goes in, just takes 2/3 of his health. Not entirely sure on the game plan there. But now the push in the mid lane coming out from RA. They're going to try and trade this for a Cloud Drake. And actually, they might just be able to get a tier 2. I mean, who can wave clear realistically? And there's a Jinx here. They're just going to slam the Herald. As Caster finishes the Drake off, the Herald, though, will finish this tower. And honestly, for RA, it's a Cloud Soul anyway. I'd say that's definitely the better trade.
Yeah, I mean, you're happy with that. Accelerate the gold advantage, and you're pretty comfortable leaving this one to go a bit later, so you're not too concerned about that dragon going down. We do see Top Esports will just have Knight respond with the spot lane tower. Although, actually, no, it looks like... I thought Cube was going to go over and try contest it, but it looks like they should just be able to take it. Don't really have the map presence on that side of the map. And on the other side, Rare Atom are going to lean in here, and I think they found a kill.
Yeah, Xingqian in trouble. Big haymaker across the team, but there are 4 of them. There's only a certain amount you can really do there. And Knight going to continue to push underneath the tier 2. Looks for a 1v1, actually, but Cube just going to disengage. And I think that has been the story of Cube's game so far, right? Just bait them in and then disengage. He did it with the early ganks on the top side. Now doing it to Knight in the bottom lane as well. Keeping him here, but not allowing any pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, Xingqian was just too aggressive, got caught out, whereas Cube, he saw the potential threat, didn't opt to step up to the tower, wasn't even close, and as a result, Top Esports don't really find much on the back of that, whereas there's no reason to be in this position here. You're on weak side, you're nowhere near your team. I guess the overconfidence is because you're playing set and you're like, well, I'm pretty hard to kill. But when there's 4 members, it doesn't matter how hard to kill you are because they will be able to take you down.
Jackie on this Ezreal will still take a while before he properly gets into this game. Just look at the item difference. Like, casters always talk about item difference between carries, but this is one of the most stark I've seen in a while because Ezreal's 2-item spike is where he starts to kind of exist, honestly, in the early game, once you've got the Divine Sunderer, and then you finish the Muramana. Jinx already has a Kraken Slayer and a Phantom Dancer, plus a pickaxe on top of that. He is so far ahead of JackeyLove, it is unbelievable right now. These fights, JackeyLove basically doesn't exist comparatively.
Yeah, and I feel like we might end up with a point where JackeyLove hits his 2nd item as iBoy is hitting his 3rd, and that would really be a concern as Jinx 3-item spike is absolutely massive and the sustained damage is huge, and then it doesn't really necessarily come down to JackeyLove, it comes down to Top Esports and can they answer the backline. We need to see potential flank angles, particularly from Xingqian. We want to be ulting the carries back in, but now, I mean, Lien just, he jumps in, he knows he has the Lantern for safety, and he's able to instantly disengage. And this is the value of this Thresh pick that obviously in these team fights is going to provide so much peel for iBoy. And I think as long as it's a scenario where even if you're engaged on as the Jinx, if you have somewhere to Lantern too, it's very hard for Top Esports to really capitalize.
It truly is. As it looks like Drake might be the next objective that comes up. And I want to just point out that this is the nature of these two teams. When it's RA that are in control and have a decent scaling composition, this is the way they like to play. They are not actually the kind of team that will just force fights endlessly, generally speaking. Like, Game 2 was kind of an exception when it comes to their playstyle. RA prefer a slower paced game. They like to gradually build advantages for themselves and try and win the kind of correct way of playing League of Legends, right? The way that we've seen so many Korean teams win world championships with in the past, where it's all about slow, it's all about trading effectively across the map and understanding what your opponents want to do. They know that Knight would love to skirmish. They know that Set would love to skirmish as well for Xingtian. And they just say, nope, we're going to scale up. We're going to clear things out. We're going to continue to find minor gold advantages. And now all of those minor advantages have built up to a 4,000 advantage in favor of RA as we approach the 20-minute mark. And another Drake coming up in a minute that it feels almost impossible for Top Esports to contest.
Yeah, I mean, QSS actually picked up from iBoy, so delaying that spike, but being able to avoid that CC, potentially a huge asset. And you see the stopwatch also picked up for Fofo. They're understanding what the limitations are with their composition. If the backline gets messed up, they are going to end up losing the fight. So not even allowing that to be an option and delaying the damage items for that, I think is a great decision. And Top Esports are trying to lean into these side waves, but realistically, Rise is completely fine going up there to answer waves. Renekton, we've seen Cube completely comfortable. There doesn't feel like any breaking points right now for Rare Atom, and I don't think the Dragon's necessarily the point where you can look to find a fight, but they are going to try and approach it. And really in this one, you want to watch iBoy, you want to watch Fofo, and see if they can survive.
Big damage coming out onto Troll. And we said that Top Esports wouldn't be able to contest this Drake. They're going to try their damnedest regardless. Xingtian front line right now. Top Esports going in. Lian diving forwards here. Already using his Crescent Guard, which is a big cooldown for this Xin Zhao. It does mean that it's going to be very difficult for him to be the front line, for him to be aggressive in the fight. iBoy jumped on by Jackie Love, and Knight now flanking on the backside. Crescent Guard comes out from him, and Top Esports start to fight off right. Huge damage across the whole squad. How have they done this? Top Esports somehow find a clean 4-0 fight while massively behind, and forget the Cloud Drake. Baron is on the cards.
Just a beautiful engage coming out. They catch iBoy and just delete him, and I feel like Top Esports were really tentative with that engage, but it was all down to the power of Knight and Xingtian just finding that backline access. And as soon as those carries go down, the fight is over. They got absolutely decimated, really playing to those two item spikes. You said this is when the Ezreal looks strong, the Silas as well in a really comfortable spot. And we'll get to see the replay. So Knight already looking for this backline access in this situation. iBoy got chunked out pre-fight, and then this ult from Xingtian takes the Renekton in, smashes iBoy, who actually failed flashed against the wall, I believe. And with iBoy down and no safety net coming out from Hung, Fofo is left alone and is the last to follow. Just a beautiful engage and fully understanding who they have to kill to find the advantage there.
And Lian, I think, really misreading the situation here. I'm not sure that this is a Drake that you can go for anymore. TP's coming in as they jump straight onto Fofo on the back line. Look at the true shot barrage through the whole team. Set comes in on the backside as well as Caster smites himself back up to full health. Lian goes down. And it's another easy fight for Top Esports. RA were 4,000 gold ahead just 2 minutes ago, and now it's 1,000 in favor of Top Esports. That's a 5,000 gold swing, Orcs.
Yeah, and the slow burn we were expecting from Rare Atom just is not working when Top Esports refuse to allow you that space. These engages are beautiful, although we do see Knight. Actually,
yeah. I'm not entirely sure that this is the best play available to them. There's the Dominus coming on out, and the rest of the team is coming. Everfrost comes in. Knight will have his Kingslayer in a second to heal himself back up, and Cube can't do anything about it.
I mean,
Jackie over the meantime takes a tier 2 in the bot side. How can you get away with that?
It just feels like this game has gone so quickly out of control. It felt so stable, and it felt like Rare Atom had control. As long as they were able to keep their backline safe, they were fine. And yes, they lost that team fight, but then things have just spiraled. The attempt to contest the Dragon, complete mistake, and then they're leaning in to try and pick Knight instead of defending their side lanes, and they end up dropping so much. We do get that replay of that second fight. Fofo completely out of position. iBoy completely out of position, and a beautiful flank coming in from Xingtian just finds the Jinx, dunks her instantly, And I mean, the first fight before this, it felt like some really good execution from Top Esports with a couple of misplays. This was just pure misplay from Rare Adam. Yes, Top Esports capitalized, but there's no way your Jinx and Rai should be that position, and they got smashed.
They truly did. And, you know, Knight survives the 1v3 for about 30 seconds after that play, heads back to base, and he goes, this is a Medjay's game. If I can live through that, I can live through anything. The Medjay's immediately locked in there. And now up towards the top side, as Knight is just going to threaten a dive onto Cube. Fofo has to stick around there to make sure that his top laner is safe, but what do you do against this Sylas? Knight is a monster on the Sylas, especially when he's this strong that it doesn't feel like there's much he can do. Jackie Love jumping under the tower on towards Lien. Crescent Guard used, but he's just going to be stunned and surely finished off as Carson gets that one for himself. It's 1-for-1 though. Jungler for jungler. He's now threatening the dive on the backside of things. And it's insane to think how much things have turned on their heads, but keep your eyes on iBoy because he still has items. He still has damage on this Jinx. If he can take over a fight, he will run away with things.
Yeah, and this is a much more comfortable position for the team. When you have that tower backing you up, you have somewhere to disengage to. And you can see, you know, Top Esports weren't willing to push things further after Carter ended up diving. They will just back away on that one. They know it's so easy to find favorable fights against Rare Atom because all you need to do is wait for the neutral objectives. Rare Atom have to push out of their base. And in that scenario, you can have wards down for TP flanks. You can have people looking for flank angles where they haven't been spotted because there's vision being cleared. And it really exposes the backline to danger. And you know what's the crazy thing right now, Munch? Is remember when we saw that scenario where iBoy had the pickaxe and then he bought the QSS?
Yeah.
You know, I was like, he's just now picked up the Infinity Edge to finish that off. But in that time, Jackie Love, he's picked up that entire Frozen Heart as well as finishing off that Man Immune and just looks so strong right now on this Ezreal. And the thing is, with all that armor, only really the Rise is doing good damage to you, and he's just not really going to be in range.
I mean, yeah, like, how do you ever get onto Jackie Love with your Fofo right here without some miraculous realm warp to make the play happen? Does feel like it's going to be very difficult to deal with Jackie Love for the side of Rare Atom. And it feels like the story of this game has just been completely flipped on its head across the course of things. Jackie Love just has no fear of this team. Here we go. Speed ups coming out from both squads. Jackie Love maintains full HP. Even throws a Q over towards this jungler to try and help. But now he's gone too far. The man with no fear ends up going too deep down the rabbit hole. And Jackie Love will do Jackie Love things. And just about throw away the lead that Top Esports has. Knight is here to proxy the wave to stop the push from RA.
You know, sometimes fear can be a good thing. It helps us have some respect for our limits. Jackie Love, massive overstep in that situation, ends up getting popped, and now able to pick up this inhibitor. Expect Rare Atom just to back off on this, but clear just a window that shouldn't really have been given over to this team.
I feel like somebody needs to get 2 screenshots on this VOD. They need to get the screenshot of the attempted engage where Jackie Love gives the thumbs up, and then the screenshot of 10 seconds later when Jackie Love actually gets grabbed by everyone. I want to see that tweet out by the end of this one. We've got 15 seconds on the Drake here, Orcs, and it feels like RA fully in control.
Yeah, but they risk losing control of the Baron area. It's going to be spawning a little bit later, so they should have time to move over, but face checking for RA is dangerous. Now, Top Esports looking for the engager. Once again, watch those backliners. iBoy and Fofo. It's all on Top Esports to take them out, but honestly, looks like there's not even going to be a fight. A quick disengage from Rare Atom. But now pings are coming out for the Baron. A long way for Rare Atom to travel to get over there. And Top Esports have cleared out all the vision here. It's going to be down from Rare Atom. Someone has to face check this, and I think Cube has to be the one.
We've seen this before. Top Esports just run straight at the Baron. They knew RA were on the other side of the map. RA threatening to push mid, but they've already got the infinite. What are you going to get? Lien over the wall here, looking to try and find the steal. 5,000 on this Baron. We've seen Carson win many smites before. Xingtian, huge flank on the back line here. The rest of the team struggling to follow up. Jackie Love over the wall, getting some damage down. Huge damage across the whole squad, but RA still surviving for now. And iBoy can pop off in the fight. He's trying to chase them down. Drove over the wall. Knight still surviving in the pit. Jackie Love now hooked by Hung and will be taken down. iBoy grabbing the kill and iBoy taking over the game. TP now into the base. And Rare Atom, they're looking to close things out. Fofo and Cube in the base. Jackie Love already fell. It's Dro and Knight against the world. Can Knight finish things off? He has the dominance. He has the sustain. Looking for damage onto Cube. Forces him away. Forces the flash. Fofo taken down by Knight as he 2v1s and Dro there to help him out. But now 4 men strong for the side of Rare Atom. They want to close things out, but Knight doesn't want that to happen. Jumps into the backline, drops his Zhonya's, trying to buy time. There's a Kingslayer. iBoy's in trouble as well. The E dodged away from, flashed away from, but it's a double kill as he has another stopwatch. Knight is unbelievable. The triple kill from the Chinese mid laner as he looks for a little bit more.
The solo carry to keep the game alive. They're all looking to end, but they cannot deal with Knight. The time he bought for the team, I honestly thought that was going to be the end. He's still chasing down that final kill, but we see Young get away. But Knight, what an absolute monster, taking the doomed fight scenario and able to turn around the attempted end from Rare Atom. There's still minions pushing up mid, but Rare Atom don't have any TPs anymore, and they should just be Baron for top esports. What a way for a single player to turn around a disaster.
Orcs, anyone that tells me that Knight isn't the carry he's cracked up to be can eat their heart out. I don't care what you say. This man is a monster.
And it's just such good uses of things like the Everfrost here, the Renekton Ultimate, which has a little bit of an AP scaling and is able to shred away the minions, but it's just this constant use of the Kingslayer to heal up and sustain up. And then they try and turn him, but the Zhonya's usage here to dodge away from the CC, constantly looking around to find as much damage. Because he actually executed Qing Tian there, didn't get stunned. Second stopwatch active coming through, so I believe he had the Zhonya's and bought a stopwatch as well for this specific defense. Great presence of mind there and just flawless play on the Silas. And I think Rare Atom just didn't really think that they were going to go down in that scenario. Now, there is something I want to bring your attention to. There is a Rise Realm Warp. He is level 16.
I was about to say this.
And there's an open Nexus, so it isn't all clean sailing right now for top esports.
Yeah, this is far from over. RA have the Realm Warp. Both TPs were used in the previous attempt, so TP's going to be on cooldown for a little bit, but Realm Warp available for Fofo. The game-ending play still possible for them. But it's a while since they took that inhibitor in the mid lane, so maybe that can respawn. There was a Baron taken by top esports. They've got just under 2 minutes on that one until it's going to respawn. But RA, look how clustered they are playing right now. They know they cannot separate. They have to play protect the iBoy.
And I think as well, you can see from top esports, they are so scared to leave their base even slightly because they don't want to get leapfrogged essentially by the Rizal. There is TPs coming up soon, but no wards anywhere near the base. So for now, top esports will play defensive. If they need to, they can just give up the dragon. It's not really that much of a concern. Yes, Cloud Soul is strong and definitely an asset for RA. But losing your Nexus, a little bit more valuable than losing Cloud Soul, I'll say. I believe that is the inhibitor respawning, though. So they have a little bit more space to work with. But still, if they overcommit too much and push out their base, a good Realm Warp will just be able to run down and end with no minions. So there is always that on the mind. But for now, top esports going to push up and apply some pressure. Jackie Love as confident as ever.
Yeah, he doesn't care how close this game has been. I mean, the closer the game is, the more Jackie Love will do this kind of thing and try and find advantages. Knight going to steal away the Gressing Guard once again. He's used this so effectively to make plays, to buy space for his team, and he's looking to get onto the backline. Top esports just engaging the fight. They don't want a long drawn-out battle. They want to blow RA apart. Hung will go down. Lien trying to buy space for his team, but Jackie Love's still going strong. iBoy blasting away as well, but the Q goes through. Jackie Love still surviving. Tower goes down. It's 4v4. Both junglers fell. Don't think Jackie Love can threaten this inhibitor, but he's sticking around for now. Double TPs come back through. Top esports not done just yet. Jaw flashes forward, looks for the root, but it's a flash away from Fofo. Top esports grab themselves the inhib, and they can move up towards the top side. Maybe could move towards the Drake either.
And even then, with the power of Fofo and iBoy, them feeling untouched, it still doesn't feel like enough. Knight is so threatening on the Silas, and just able to soak so much damage and then sustain it back up. It really feels like top esports have the edge in this situation. They're going to pick up that dragon and secure the third. and feeling comfortable. Ezreal right now pumping out so much damage, and iBoy, despite the fact he's closing on 4 items, it still feels like he's not quite there. He's not quite able to shred through this front line. And the thing is, if you're this late in the game and it's not happening, will it ever happen is the real question.
That is the question on every RA's fan's lips. That was, I messed that sentence up somehow. I'm not even sure how, but it didn't sound quite right.
Well,
but RA fans everywhere.
They messed up this game, so it's fine.
That's very true. That is unbelievably true. To be fair, I will say that was more Knight going Super Saiyan than RA messing it up. I'm not sure any team can take on Knight 4v1, you know? Knight, this is Knight we're talking about on his Silas. And it goes back to what we were talking about before as well, right? Game number 1, they put him on the Silas. They put him on a carry. He carries. He gets MVP. Game number 2, he's on the Lulu. They're like, all right, iBoy, you be the carry this time. You play the Cog more. We'll play Lulu mid. Let's see how it goes. Doesn't work out. All right, Knight's back on the Silas. And you can see why.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, in every team fight, pushing the limits of the champion, doing so much damage. And really, I feel like the thing that's struggling now for RA is the front line just isn't holding up well. Xingqian and Knight just seem to be soaking so much damage and feel almost invincible, but the side of RA, Cube and Luyen just feel like punching bags right now.
I just love how neither of these teams care about side lanes this game. This isn't about split push. This isn't about pressure. This is about ARAM. This is about team fights. We're just going to push mid and try and find the fight against you. Knight goes for the Crescent Guard once more. If he can find a way into the backline, knock the front line out of position, it's a perfect window to make things happen. If he can proxy that next bot wave, we would get a slow push going in the bottom side of the map. At least then Top Esports could pressure onto a separate inhib. But I think he's just going to go for the blue buff instead. Now can move down to the bottom lane. But RA, they want to catch Knight out of position. They've not noticed him on a scanner, but he noticed them too. And he'll be okay.
A little bit back and forth, but now we see the Baron spawning in 20 seconds. And already, Top Esports are pushing up mid pretty heavily without the help of the Baron buff. With that in hand, they should be pretty comfortable to start sieging down and potentially even threatening to dive. Remember, with the volley bear, can just shut off those Nexus towers. They are going to reset, spend a little bit of gold, buy some control wards, and then look to fan out and get control of this area. But Knight is potentially looking for a flank in this situation, or a pick, depending on what comes up to him. He's now moving forward. This ward will spot him off. The engage is coming.
Yeah, the rest of the team is going to be there. Knight stops the disengage, gets onto Hung himself. That's going to be 1. Looking for 2 as well. It's Fofo caught out of position, and it's all in trade for just the support of Top Esports. Now with the man advantage, Top Esports can go to this bottom lane and look for more.
And I mean, it was a great realm warp from Fofo to get his teammates to safety, but he was left alone and isolated. And now it's all on iBoy to be that primary carry. No safety net from Hung, no Fofo providing the extra damage. And I think for now, Top Esports going to push to the bot lane and with this big wave, potentially threaten the end of the game.
30 seconds on Fofo. This is all on iBoy. He has to be the carry that his team needs right now to win this game. He's playing the Jinx. He's got the Rockets. Fishbone's out in full force right here, trying to clear the wave. Knight jumps underneath the tower, goes into his Zonyas, but Flame Chompers might be available here. Will dash away, gets out to safety. iBoy looking for a zap onto Jackie Love, but it won't quite find his target. Top Esports get an in-him, but iBoy holds on.
It just feels like there's so much pressure from Top Esports and they're just able to hang on, but they aren't able to re-engage. They aren't able to find that window back in because Jackie Love and Knight are so slippery. They will look for the restart, although Jackie Love potentially fishing for more in this situation. Will force that Sterish, but the TPs are coming in. And actually, I see a ping coming out to the inhibitor. I saw them ping the inhibitor. They might fish for something here.
Lian incredibly low on this one. This is surely just a Baron taken, and think about it. Top Esports.
They're going for the realm warp. They're going for the realm warp.
Oh my god, we're gonna have a base race on our hands, but Knight is here once again. He will not let you end the game. He's so close, but they got through. 4 of them made it through. Knight still has TP. The recalls have to come in from Top Esports. It's an open Nexus though. RA are gonna do it. They backdoor, they make it in, and they take themselves the series.
What an ending. What a call to come out. And Knight once again nearly stopped it by interrupting, but wasn't able to interrupt the rise. If he connected the stun, that would have ended that play, and they certainly would have won. But they find the window with the Realm Warp, able to capitalize on the early damage. And It was a messy game. It was a back and forth, but Rare Atom managed to come out as the winners in the end.
The late game decision making from Rare Atom triumphs in the end, and what a way to finish that series out. You could see smiles across the team, and well deserved after that series. We had 2 incredibly one-sided games, and then game number 3 was an absolute banger as well.
Yep.
And it felt like top esports. They were so close to losing the game earlier on. Knight holds the game on. He does his utmost to keep his team in the game. And it felt like top esports kind of forgot about the fact that they had an open nexus, that just that inhibitor was not going to be a defense. They forgot about the Realm Warp plays, and it comes back and bites them in the end.
And it even felt like Knight was there to try and scout it out and see if anyone was going to try coming for it, but I don't think he expected the full 5-man team heavily committing to that play, and he managed to kill Lien at the end, but he wasn't able to stop the Realm Warp. He needed a CC on a Fofo, and just great call, and just a great game. We had, as you said, those big early game focused performances, and this one, look at the goal difference. I mean, top esports on blue side, they had a 6k gold lead, and they lost the game at the end. Just a brilliant performance coming out. And the thing is, I feel like both teams had so many strong performers here, but just the decision making was what edged it for Rare Atom after they kind of botched the mid game quite heavily.
Honestly, that was a fantastic game. I don't even care who won. I just thoroughly enjoyed every single second of that. Yeah. That was such a good game between the 2 teams. Jackie Love, once again, top of the damage. I feel like I say that every single game because it feels like he does top the damage every single game. But it's RA that triumphed in the end with a 2-1 victory. A 40-minute one, but a victory nonetheless. And that means they'll push themselves up to 3rd place, I believe, in the standings, as they'll be tied in wins with EDG. But obviously EDG, 0 losses on the board so far, and LNG with the most wins out of anyone in the league. So really, really fantastic stuff from RA, and once again, looking to prove themselves in the league. Last split, they had a fantastic win streak, but it ended up falling short by the end of the split. This time, they're starting off strong once more. Let's look at our MVP off the back of that one, though. It's going to be Fofo. That Realm Warp at the end, the play that won the game, you got to give it to him.
For that alone, honestly, but even in other scenarios, some really creative use of the Realm Warp. There was that time where he ended up dying, but his Realm Warp saved his team. And you think about the fact that if he hadn't done that, potentially they lose that fight a bit cleaner, and maybe the game off the back of that. This game felt like you're on a knife's edge, and we were talking about how Jackie Love, in these close games, plays really aggressive, finds these windows. Fofo was the one who ended up clutching out in the high pressure situation. Obviously, it was a team decision to go for that, but yeah, some pretty solid Rise play coming out, and a well-deserved win.
Yeah, truly exceptional game coming out from, I mean, honestly, all 10 players. That was just unbelievable. Yeah. I feel like I'm kind of just in the afterglow of that ridiculous game because it was just so, like, full 45 minutes of either tension or action. Either one in spades. Unbelievable fights as well across that one. Let's take a look at our results as we round things out.